Good morning. My name is Deanne Battle, and this is the Composite, Season 2, Episode 15. Good morning, good morning. It was rough going. So for those that might have seen previous episodes, this semester I teach in the evening. So I have some time in the day, which is great. And I'll be doing some writing after this, so I'm excited. But I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do my show at 10 a.m. And yeah, no. As you see, it's like 10:40 something. But, I most likely won't get that many folks to join the live. But, for those few supporters that have been watching the replays, I really appreciate it. But like I said, I was a little sluggish this morning. I think what I might do is maybe have it at 11, like an early lunchtime, because, let me rephrase that. Like I said, I haven't had coffee yet or anything. Just got up. The thing about 10:30 or earlier is I was thinking about in terms of the news cycle. Yes, I would have the early morning headlines, but sometimes things change midday, so it might be cool at 11 a.m. just to go through headlines and stuff with people, just based on, has anything changed from the morning? And the stock market would be open, so we could talk about more like financial stuff. So yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll experiment with that. I'll go live probably tomorrow just to get a little momentum here. Hi there. Yeah, thanks for watching. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? I say this a lot. We're in a weird time in our culture right now when there's shit that wasn't on my bingo card. All right. A Drake sex tape was not on my bingo card at all, and here's the thing. The saddest thing is I have absolutely no interest in spending 2 seconds to find it. So why is that a problem? Because I just don't think he's as relevant. I mean, let me rephrase that, right? So there's a difference between being popular and being relevant. So he's still very popular. I just don't think he's relevant. And then also, do people really care about sex tapes anymore? I mean, I still remember when, the Pam and Tommy tape got leaked. The Kim and Ray J tape got leaked. I just think every subsequent one has less and less effect, and online a lot of people are saying that he leaked it. So like I said, I just found this out overnight, so I don't know how people are tracing it back to him directly. But yeah, it feels very desperate for relevancy, and he's not really moving the culture like that, in my opinion. I would say it's almost approaching R. Kelly vibes, because someone said, oh, well, he leaked it and he said it was for his new album. Okay, so what's the demos on that? Like, aren't there really young teenagers that still buy Drake music? I mean, that's a weird response. I don't know. God bless. When I was a kid, when I was I want to say about 12, 13. My middle school, had auditions for the Little Shop of Horrors, and, I wasn't popular or anything, or, even that outgoing, but, I had this dream at that time, I wanted to be famous, and I'm just oh, you can be in a play, and then everybody will see you, da 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 da. And then, I didn't get, the play, at the time, our public school, I don't remember the theater program being really big. And they took us, I think, to see Cats once, or maybe that was 6th grade. I don't know. But why do I say that? Because now as an adult, to see this new development with Drake, the Nicki Minaj issues, I'm just God, I I wouldn't want to have that much naked insecurity and opportunities for personal growth to be that public, and especially since everything circulates. So let's say hypothetically he did leak the tape. Okay, so what next? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to wake up one day, right, at 60 or 65. You're probably not going to feel the same way about it that you feel now, but it's too late. It's already out there. I don't know if it has the staying power of the Kim Kardashian Ray J tape, because it just seems like, because that was the cornerstone of her career. I mean, she has no discernible talents. So it's always going to be, present as a consideration, as an issue for her. I think gender has part to do with it, but I mean, I think also was timing, her position in society, so on and so forth. But yeah, again, a few sources are like, okay, well, he's doing this to change the narrative, like, so, and get more attention. But it's just like, that's what it feels like. It's not, you're not getting over anybody. Like, people see through it. So it's really corny. I mean, the dude, he's still rapping about ex-girlfriends from like years ago. He's on some Irv Gotti stuff with that, it feels like. But God bless, because that's a little bit too much for me, or maybe too little. I don't know if y'all have seen it. You can say either way. So I was trying to get my computer up and running here. As I've mentioned many times, I have a dying Mac, and it just, it cooperates when it wants to, and doesn't at other times. So the other thing is, I was talking about the Royals on the last episode. I really should have put some chapstick on. Oh well. And what's going on with them now is that, Prince Harry, I guess, has come back from California, and they said that the family was wearing all black. So that's not good, right? I don't know if it's for Charles or if it's for Kate, but something's up. Because I guess they have a very strict thing where, especially if it's in the daytime, they're not allowed to wear black, unless they're in mourning. So, they might have an announcement soon. That's, the House of Windsor is down bad. So, and, that's, I mean, unfortunate for them, but, I'm not a fan of monarchy as a concept. So, all right, there's that. Just some water here. Other things. Does anyone officially know what happened with Killer Mike at the Grammys? That's one of the things I was gonna look up, and take time to work through, because that was just weird. He was arrested. I was hearing for an altercation, but an altercation with who and where? Because I just saw him being escorted out, like whoever he had an argument with, or they weren't, penalized or anything. Now, I've heard good things about the album Michael. I really want to listen to it. I just haven't yet, because I haven't actually invested in new music much lately, in terms of time and attention. When I hear new music, I like to not be doing anything so I can, get into it, or feel, the grooves or the vibe that the artist is putting out. And so even though I have a long commute, on the days when I go into the office, I tend to listen to music that I already know. I tend not to listen to new music because I just want something in the background that, that I know the words to just keep me occupied. So I'll have to check that out. And I think I think I have a long weekend coming up. So shout out to him. When it comes to Killer Mike, I know him more politically, actually. When I was living in Arkansas, Run the Jewels was supposed to come, but I think their show got postponed or canceled or something like that. And then I ended up moving shortly after, so I didn't get a chance to see them in person. I mean, I've seen clips of them, and I'm more familiar with Killer Mike when he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And then I know he launched a bank or something like that. So he's an interesting person. He's got a lot of things going on, and I appreciate that he stands in his beliefs, even though a lot of times the political class tries to talk down to him and stuff like that. I mean, do I agree with all of his beliefs? No, but I mean, isn't that the whole point? I think people tend to not respect minority Black opinions. And I mean, like, minority of thought. Like, so if you stray from that kind of like old school Black upper class, like boule ideology, is just, oh, this person is what did Jasmine Crockett call us? Low information voters. I think Ebony K. Williams has said something very similar. Roland Martin is always cussing Black people out. And, I love that Killer Mike doesn't give a shit. We're all individual voters, right? And so you have to cater to your constituency. Like, voting is transactional. What don't people understand about that, right? So if I'm voting for you, I'm either a single issue voter, right? So a lot of people, especially if they're religious, they're pro-life, right? And that's the main thing that they're considering, and then they vote down the line from that, right? So that would be an example of a single issue voter. And then, you have people that are interested in multiple things. Like, I would consider myself like a multiple issue in terms of policy sort of voter. And it's like you cannot say anything that's, doesn't toe the Democratic Party line, because then when you do, they bring out this array of Black people to tell you how slow you are, like how dumb you are, that, oh, you don't have a political education, ba-ti-da-ti-da-ti-da-ti-da. Like, we're the only group that people respond to like that, and it's just really unacceptable. And, I don't really have use for Black people that are on that shit. I really don't. For me, I'm like in the middle, right? Because by, education and, profession, I'm in one class category, but like from actual lived experience and just like actual finances, I'm in a different class category, right? And so I, hear how, professional Black people talk about politics. I hear about, and I'm saying professional, but that's not the right word. So my apologies. And then I hear how working class Black people talk about, policy and the economy and stuff like that. And so I think, I tend to consider myself a working class person. And, I really get offended when they're telling me, oh, that, who someone says something to the effect of, people have issues with Biden because they didn't get a stimulus check out of him and they got one out of Trump. And so they just are not down with the Democrats because they want their stimmy. It's just like, do you hear yourself as a black person talking about other black people? There's not enough money in the world for me to downgrade myself like that in the public sphere. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I appreciate that Killer Mike resists that. And he was on Bill Maher. I saw like a 20-second clip, but Bill Maher, in my opinion, is dangerous. And the fact that he still has a platform after all these years is problematic. Like, I can't watch him. He's smug, but not well read, and so all of his observations, that might have seemed, I guess, to some people pithy and cutting edge 20 years ago, if I'm being generous, like, it just doesn't, no. He's gotten old and bitter and very right-wing. I don't know what universe people are in where they still think, well, no, I do know the universe, because this, my friend one time explained to me this Overton window concept. Ours is so far to the right that, people think Bill Maher is liberal. He's not. This is a very conservative country. And so anytime I hear discussions of far left, it's like, oh, left of what? Left of fascists? Is that what we're saying? Ooh. Oh, you're not down with fascism. Ooh, you commie, you. Like, what the hell? The framing, it's always the framing and the labeling. That's where they get you, folks. Other things. Like I said, I haven't had my coffee. So, what are the things I wanted to talk about? Have you ever done something? This is like on a personal note. And, you're doing something the way you know how to do it, or the way that you've always done it. And then you realize how other people perceive it. And you're like, oh, that's not good. And that's like a convoluted way to say it. But just, I've been really thinking strategically and specifically about what it means to be in my 40s. And I think the biggest thing that I'm noticing is the unlearning, right? The story that I told myself about my place in the world and the effects that I have on other people, it was actually dead wrong. It's dead wrong. Which in a way is good, because now I think I can tell myself a better story and hopefully, have different outcomes and a better effect on society. But I would say, especially in the last 6 months, at least once a week, I find myself responding or doing something, and I'm like, wait, that's actually completely wrong. Like, that's not what was happening at all. And so I had a student, over Zoom that wrote a comment in the chat. And so I knew how it hit me, and I knew I was offended, but I didn't say anything. I'm like, okay, I'm just getting to know this student. Let me figure the situation out. And then my colleague, I shared the comment with him, and he said, oh, well, I think that student was having a technical issue, and she meant blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, his interpretation actually makes way more sense than mine. But it's just, I'm used to being in environments, right, where I get personal and professional disrespect and no one cares. And so it just kind of leads to this spiral of me like dissociating and not like wanting to be there. And so I was just like, oh, okay, I totally misunderstood what she said. And then I started thinking about like, well, how many other times have I totally misunderstood what someone has said and then sat with a negative narrative, right? Back to that word again, or negative perception of what the person was trying to say. And I'm just like, wow. So I keep having moments like that of revelation, of peeling back this onion here. And I think I'm still the same person at my core, but there's a lot of unlearning that I'm doing. And I'm grateful for it, but it is painful. It's really, really painful. Like, because you can have these moments where personally, like, I feel like, wow, I'm like a failure of a human being. And that it doesn't feel good. Now I'm trying to push through, right? Because I want to get to that other side where I have growth, where I have wisdom. Something I think I talked about on season 1 of the show is how do I prepare myself to be an elder, right? In the communities that I'm a part of. And so I think that this is like a trial by fire and it's just a necessary rite of passage, but I'm not having fun, not having fun at all, just realizing like, wow, sometimes, you can jump to a negative conclusion when it's not necessary or it's not warranted. Now, to be fair, my initial interpretation could be correct. Maybe she was like, making a sarcastic comment or something. But, so, okay, so maybe that's just her personality. You see what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a confrontational thing. And the irony of that is that I'm very conflict averse. But at the same time, I realized like maybe my journey through the world has contained constant misunderstandings of what someone was saying to me or of what was happening in a situation. And so then it feels like, well, I thought I was an intelligent person. Like, what does this mean? It's kind of like Jenga, right? You just pull out that one piece and does the rest of it come, crashing down? I hope not. But yeah, that was a moment of unlearning of a process that I've been going through constantly. I think it is helpful. And, I want to be, I'll give myself credit for, I've always been open to change, and I've always, sought out ways like I could do something better, ways that I can do my job better, ways that I can write better, which is, why I did an MFA program. It wasn't that I wasn't writing on my own. It was just that, and I told them during my MFA candidacy interview, I said, I've taken my work as far as I can. Like I need outside help. And I'm sure that there are people who maybe wouldn't feel comfortable saying that out loud. I didn't feel comfortable saying it out loud, but like I said, that unlearning, it's necessary for ascension, and that's what I want, right? I want to ascend to, right, a higher version, a better version of myself, and you can't do that unless you change. But it does. There is grief in that. Like there are those moments where I'm like, oh, so because I've done or said X, Y, and Z, does this mean that I'm a bad person? Up until this point. And that seems dramatic, but that's kind of where it hits emotionally. And it's just like, when you're on a roller coaster and then you're coming down, and then your stomach, the bottom falls out of your stomach, right? That's what it feels like, this moment in my life, in terms of trying to evolve into a better person. And so it occurs to me, like, how many people, they get that, bottom drop, right? And out of their stomachs. And sorry, I don't know what that actual condition is called, but then they go in reverse, right? Then they go back up the roller coaster instead of pushing through to the end. I wonder how many people do that. Or how many people are even sentient of, as you get older, right, that your ideas of who you are do need to change, or that you can do work on yourself, let's say. That's just a thought. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up. Yep, still can't get the computer going here. And then on top of that, I haven't fully decided, even this far into doing this show, like, how long should it be? Initially, I thought I was going to have like a 40-minute program. But, some episodes, I would say most episodes have been approaching an hour. I do have some that'll be shorter, like this one, more approaching 30 minutes. But yeah, it seems like, I can flap my gums here for about an hour or so. But thank you for joining us. This is The Composite, and this was Season 2, Episode 15. I'm going to post the live to Instagram, and then I will post the video to YouTube. There's plenty of content over there. So thanks, and I'll see you next time.